support. Give us a subscribe and consider supporting us, because apparently I have to buy a new webcam because the one that came installed with this computer isn't working anymore. Hello and welcome. We are continuing our deep dive into Borrow Maze, and we're going to play around with these wonderful random tables because dungeon design seems to be a thing that has come up recently. Now, one thing we have been talking about and noticed and complaining about and trying to point out is that lately, especially from Wizards of the Coast and Wizards of the Coast-like products, they don't tell you how to run a dungeon. They don't tell you how to run an adventure. They don't tell you how to design an adventure. They just sort of throw you in and expect you to be, oh, player advocacy, critical role. Blah. So we're going to design a random mound using the crypt generator that came with this thing. So the first thing we do is design the crypt entrance, and for that we need a D8. So let's have roll 1d8. Roll 1d8. And we come up with 4. So 4 is a stairs with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 possible exits. Then we're going to roll the number of additional chambers. And we roll a D4 for that. So we got 3. So there's 3 additional chambers to our dungeon. Okay, so now we're going to go to roll a D8 on table C2. Table 2, crypt chambers to determine crypt condition. So first we're going to roll a D6. We get a 1. Our crypt is dry. Then we roll on crypt door type, and we roll a D6 on that, and we get 2, which is wood. And there's a 30% chance that the 10% descending 10-foot descending staircase extends immediately beyond the door, but we're just not going to have it. Then we're going to roll crypt door is ajar. And then upon entering the room, we're going to decide what are the entrance features. And we're going to roll a D12 for that. We get an 8. So there are strange dark pools in the room. And we have to roll a D2 for that. So we get a 2. So there are 2 strange pools in our room. So already we're getting an idea of how to design this random dungeon. Then we're going to roll a D12 to determine the contents of our strange room with its strange pools. And we get an 11. So there's a unique feature. Roll on step 4. And I guess the step 4 is our strange dark pools. So we did that in the wrong thing. Then we go to, is the room occupied? So we're going to roll a D8 for that. We roll a 5, so that tells us that there are tomb robbers in here. So 2d4 plus 4 tomb robbers. So we're going to roll 4, 3. So 4 plus 3 is 7 plus 2. So we've got 9 tomb robbers in our room. So we're going to look on the what our tomb robbers are like. So we're going to say that there are, 9 humans. And what are they trying to steal? So we're going to roll on our grave goods types. So we're going to roll a D20. And we get an 11. So there are coins in here. So let's roll how many coins. We roll a D12. We get a 5. So that is 200 gold pieces worth in coins. So there we go. So we know that there are some guys trying to rob our little baby tomb, and they're trying to steal 200 coins. So right there, just from a few rolling dice, we have a good idea of how the amazing random tables in Borrow Maze works. And then we also have, or maybe, a random table for random sarcophagus contents, random pit context, random runic tablet results, random graffiti, my favorite one. That's a D12 on that. Random dungeon dressing. We've got random patron generator for the bar, random encounters for each level, and then of course the amazingly complex map. And my other favorite part is just this. There's a little nod to Tomb of Horrors right there, and a little nod to White Plume Mountain right there. So we've got a little homages to both of the classics that have used pictures in the past. So it's got art, it's got amazing random tables. We could just roll a percentile on our random sarcophagus right here, and we get 1. So there was a potion of clairaudience in our sarcophagus. Random dungeon dressings, we're going to roll on that, and we get a 10. And there are several adventurer corpses piled near the wall. So our grave robbers have already killed some dudes and piled up their corpses. And just for fun, let's roll on the random graffiti. So after we kill the tomb robbers and search the room and take the 200 gold pieces we find, scrawled on the wall, Paulo was here. So there you go. That is just sort of a brief glimpse at the amazing random tables. They are in the back of the book. They start on page 240 and go to page 251, and then it comes with a table, a chart to print out and put your random room / dungeon / whatever on. Because the big thing about Borrow Maze is, amongst the many other things, is the restocking. It never remains empty. It is a constantly evolving dungeon. So the story constantly changes. Every time you go through, the dungeon is different. Because if you clear out a room, or if the opponent adventurers clear out a room, you can roll on the table to see how much time has passed, who wanders in, what they do. Do they stay? Do they leave? Does the dungeon change and evolve because of the action of the player characters and the NPCs? And another great thing about Borrow Maze is that it does have opponents. You're not the only adventurers going through here. It provides you with, other adventuring companies, other tomb robbers who are going through the dungeon besides you. So we have the rival adventuring parties. We have the Boon Companions. We have Ronetta's Robbers. We have the Norse Whisperers. We have the Bastards of Bogtown. We have the Burton's Brigands. We have the Outriders of Ulrich. So there's already some suggested pre-existing parties that can compete with you or help you. You can have a friendly rivalry. Oh, I bet I get to that gem before you do, Ulrich. Or it could be like, we are totally fucking hate each other and we're going to kill you the first chance we get. It's even got its own character record sheet that comes with it. Now, again, this is the OSR Labyrinth Lord version, so the stats and stuff in this are all geared towards that game. But I got this one because the 5e one supposedly is not as good. It's missing tables, it's missing art. Apparently it wasn't edited as well, printed out as well. It's 5e, so they probably just didn't fucking care. So this is the one I got. It's easy enough to convert. Obviously, yes, like any module in dungeon, there is some ridiculousness. Like you walk into a tomb that's basically the size of my room, and you have a chance of finding, 1,000 gold pieces, a magical weapon, some whatever. And it's like, really, this is a 10 by 10 room with one apparently poor guy. Why would he have that much money and that many things? He's just Steve the carpenter. And maybe his family, and this is and again, the other thing is everything is a tomb or a cave or a pit or a hole. There's no just, you mean like you walk through a normal graveyard, you're going to see a grave, you dig it up, there's a coffin. Maybe you see one mausoleum, maybe you see one tomb. Some of the older, more, more medieval graveyards, you might see more tombs because they couldn't dig deep because of swamp, flooding, the water level. So a lot of the reason why you see above ground tombs, especially older above ground tombs, is because this was somebody who can afford above ground tomb, and because of the water levels. You dig too deep, you hit the water level, or just they didn't have the wherewithal to dig those holes. And a tomb, which goes back to tombs, which goes back to Egypt, which just goes back to that whole our history of recognizing and immortalizing the dead by building edifices to them. But we also have to understand that there was actually very real reasons why these edifices were built. You don't just build a tomb above ground because there are reasons, and one of the reasons is land, water levels. You dig into the ground and you hit water, or bogs or whatever. And the other reason is because, as we know throughout history, sometimes people we thought were dead weren't dead. They were in a coma or whatever, and this was a thing. In fact, there is records of graves being dug with bells on them, so that if the person woke up, he could pull the bell and alert the people, hey, I'm not dead. And, if you build a tomb, you put dad in the tomb, you close the tomb up, and then dad recovers from the coma or the whatever, and turns out, oh, wait, dad wasn't dead, he was just pissed drunk. Dad can get out because, the tomb has got a door that opens from the inside. Did tombs prevent grave robbing, or did a mausoleum attract more grave robbers? Probably a very visible edifice sticking out of the ground is going to attract grave robbers way more than a hole with some dirt piled off of it and a piece of wood that says, here lies Susan. So the toss off to all the advantages of building above ground. Also, building above ground is way more expensive and takes more time. So it's also a projection of how important this person was or thought he was, because, oh, well, he's rich enough to build above ground instead of just throw his body in the bog. But yes, it would attract grave robbers and resurrectionists. Resurrectionists were the people who stole bodies and sold them to scientists at the beginning of the Reformation. As we came out of the Dark Ages, as we started actually experimenting with health and how the body works, it wasn't like somebody was going to say, here, take my body. No, there was a very profitable occupation of people who would go and take bodies and bring them to doctors, colleges, scientists to basically be cadavers, whether they had permission or not. So these are all reasons why they would build tombs as opposed to just dig a pit and throw somebody in it or burn them and forget about it. Burning, obviously is also, there's advantages to disadvantages to cremation, including religious connotations of you cannot change the body or affect the body or whatever. So all sorts of flavors go in. So there we go. I hope you appreciate this. We will have more deep dives. I have to answer that phone and figure out what's wrong with my camera. I will talk to you later.